Hey y'all, it's Chris with Rockin Farm. As promised, we're coming to you with a video today that's kind of talking about prepping your homestead when you're going to have farm sitters taking care of things. So my wife and I have kind of an emergency last minute trip coming up, and it's one of those things where, to be honest with you, it couldn't be worse timing, but we don't get to time our emergencies, right? So that's why you just need to be prepared and do what you got to do. So some of the situations that are involved is we're getting ready for about 5 days of freezing weather, which just changes the entire water situation here on my farm. The other thing is we've got Ellie, who is due to have her baby anytime in the next 2 weeks. And it just seems like right in the middle of a snowstorm or freezing weather is when animals like to do things like have babies. So some of the stuff I've got to do to get ready for my farm sitter is get some pigs moved. Once I get the pigs moved, I'm going to talk to you a lot more about like the details and the instructions and the making things as easy as possible. So we'll get to that in just a bit.
So yeah, follow me in here. So that comes out the barn.
You can stay a while.
Man, stinking pigs anyhow. So anyhow, reason we had to get pigs moved was just in case, just on the off chance that while my wife and I are gone and my adult children and children that live on the farm are watching the farm, she goes into labor. I've got the one son that has had one farrowing with us, knows what he's doing. Obviously they're going to call us anyhow, but we just needed to get the pigs moved over so that she didn't accidentally have the piglets out someplace where I didn't want her having the piglets. I've got some burnout lights in the barn here, so I might have to put a flashlight up, but this is some of the other stuff that I do to prepare people for coming and watching my farm, whether they're my kids or whatever. So I make these little lists here. Like this right here is a diagram of exactly how the feed area of my barn is laid out. So, you know, it'll actually say like that barrel there is pig feed, and you can see that those 3 barrels on the top are these 3 barrels here. There's alfalfa, and the alfalfa is also marked on the diagram. So it just makes it really easy to know, like, okay, this is all the feed that belongs to all these animals. Now my pig's feed has to get mixed, so that's why we come up with this chart here. And basically we can go down to like a pig group, and we know that if they're going to be feeding the boys get 12 pounds of feed a day, which means they get 6 pounds of feed per feeding. Theirs is in the orange bucket. So when they're mixing their feed, the 6 pounds, they can come up here to the chart and say, okay, so that means I need 5% of the 16% feed. I need 1% on the protein powder, and I need 2 scoops on the mineral. So in addition to a feed mixing chart and in addition to a feed layout chart, you know, and the reason we have to do a feed layout chart, y'all, the chicken feed and the pig feed are identical. They look exactly the same. So if they don't know that this barrel and these 2 barrels are pig feed, then they could very easily get over here into this barrel, which is chicken feed, but looks just like pig feed. The thing that we do is this chart here, and it's your, you know, step by step what to do first thing in the morning, what to do for the chickens first thing in the morning, what needs to be done at 8 a.m. And the only reason we have this like 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. is because of the freeze. My water systems aren't going to work, so you've got to go out every couple hours and break the ice and top off the water for the pigs and the chickens. You know, and then it also lists all of the evening chores for the pigs, the chickens, and then the last thing that needs to be done at the end of the night. Top off that pig water, put the chickens to bed, and then put my wife's little pet pig to bed. So just every chore lined out exactly what needs to be done. So feed the boys and give them fresh water. Feed Panchita and her daughters and give them fresh water. Just step by step by step. Check the water for the egg flock, feed the egg flock, scratch, top off the water, just everything that needs to be done. And then the very, very last thing that I give them is basically a lot like that last document where it lines out all the chores, but it's actually in like a check the box format. So they've got the one that they can just sit there and read, but then when they think they're done with their chores, they can sit down with the list of, you know, did I do this? Yes, check. Did I do this? Yes, check. And work their way all the way through everything. It's not like we haven't been through a freeze with animals before, but when I'm the one handling it and I know how my property works and I know how my animals react and I know it's just a lot easier to take care of it myself. So that's the reason we kind of over prepare for the farm sitters, is because you don't know what's going to happen while you're gone. In this case, we do know that we're going to have some freezing weather, possibly some snow, definitely a weathery mix. We're going to have about a 36-hour period where it's never going to get above freezing. You know, so I had to teach them how I keep the one hose thawed out, because if you can't keep that one hose thawed out, well, you're getting water from the bathtub. So, but obviously that's always a backup. If you guys forget and you freeze the hose up, then start getting water out of the bathtub. So, like I said, there's just a horrible weekend to be going anywhere. But unfortunately, we don't control when emergencies happen in our lives. So you have to be overly prepared for that farm sitter. Now, as far as like, what if an animal needs medication? You know, that's one of those where I'm going to expect a phone call from them. So I'm not going to give them instructions on dosing medications, because I'm going to expect them to call me, walk me through what they're seeing, walk me through the symptoms, you know, what they've noticed over the last several hours, and then I'll talk them through the process of taking a temperature, drawing a syringe, etc. Like I said, my 17-year-old who lives here on the farm, it's not his first rodeo. He's taken care of the animals for us when we were going out of town before. There's just some added stress factors to this. The fact that we've got a pig that's very pregnant, and the fact that we're going to have this, you know, pretty hard freezing weather. We've never been out of town during that. You know, but sometimes when you have friends that are just as much family as family, and you've got things you need to take care of, we don't always get to pick when things happen in our lives. So this is another one of those steps where Jess and I say to ourselves, like, okay, can we trust you? And then do what we have to do to live a full life, and not a life that is where the farm becomes handcuffs. Because I don't want that, y'all. I love my pigs, I love my chickens, but if my farm becomes handcuffs, what kind of a life is that? How is that any better than living a city life where your city life is your handcuffs? It's, you know, I need to be able to have the freedom to stay on my farm 99% of the time, because that's what I prefer. But when I want to, or when I need to get up and go, be able to get up and go. So we will cross our fingers that the vast majority of the freezing, nasty weather gets out of here before Jess and I even have to leave. And we will cross our fingers that that pig holds on until we get back to have those piglets. Other than that, we're just putting faith and trust in the family that's willing to take care of our animals for us. So that's a little bit of what we do to get prepared for a farm sitter. I literally basically just dumb it down to, like, I'm trying to teach a 2-year-old how to take care of my farm. And it's not because my farm sitters are dumb. It's just because that's a good way to learn, and it's a good way to teach. Let me simplify it as much as I possibly can, give you as much detail and as much things to look at as I can. And then if you have questions, call me. That's what Rockin Farm does to get ready to you know, go out of town, especially when it's on an emergency basis. I hope some of those lessons kind of work out for some of y'all. And if you have any questions about them, feel free to shoot me an email. Until I talk to y'all again, this has been Chris with Rockin Farm. Be happy and live healthy.